Ashley, what's the first email today?
First one up is from Samuel Polay. Well, here's another opinion on how I would fix the Oscars. Number one, no host, but do have a comic to toast at the top of the broadcast like this year. Number two, announce the best song a week before the broadcast, only have the winner perform. Number three, cut the shorts, only having one make the main broadcast. I feel these changes would keep the show on pace while still allowing for a noteworthy moment to talk about. Would love your thoughts on these. What do you
You
think,
know, one of
John?
the
Do you like
things.
that?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, Ashley. A lot of us love, after the Oscars are done, and I do this too, a lot of us love to play armchair quarterback, and I'm more guilty of this than anybody, to talk about what they could have done better because we know best, right? But anyway, that's what we do. And so I mean, there's some interesting ideas that you have there. And actually, let me propose to you what I consider to be the 7 best ways to improve the Oscars. Now, there are several things I would do that I think would be too much for some people. So some of these suggestions offer some compromises. But here's my thoughts on these are the 7 best ways I think to improve the Oscars. Number 1, limited hosting. I thought this year's Oscars worked better without a host than I ever possibly thought it could. It really did. And I'm one of the guys who said, I admit, I'm one of the guys who said, this isn't going to work without a host properly. And it did. And that was nice to see. So I think the answer is somewhere in between. I think you get a host of the show, but you limit how much the host does as opposed to years past. You don't have to have the host come out 12 times in the telecast. Have the host come out, introduce it, and then maybe have them do a couple of things that are part of the broadcast throughout the show. Maybe 3 or 4 appearances. Maybe they actually present a couple of the awards or whatever, little things here and there. But have a host, but reduce their role by like 75%. So instead of the host popping up 12 times, have them pop up 3 or 4 times throughout the show. That way you still have a host. There's still that one constant thread throughout, but you can limit how much they do. Because I really did like the results this year of having no host. I think somewhere in the middle might be the sweet spot. All right, my next suggestion is this: shorten the shorts. Now, what I mean by that is this. I've been saying for a while, I think you should get short documentary, short live action, and short animation off the Oscars. Don't get rid of the categories, just don't present them during the show. Now, some people, that's not going to fly with some people. So what I propose is a compromise. Here's what I propose. Half of the time is just taking up with introducing new presenters. And now to present the next award from such and such and such and such, so and so. And it takes 30 seconds for them to walk out onto stage. Blah, blah. Here's what I suggest. Have all the shorts presented at the same time. So bring out one set of presenters, and instead of introducing each category, they just say, short filmmaking is an art in of to itself, whether it's documentary, animation, or live action. The short is a way to tell a story in a small package that delivers a big impact, blah, blah, blah. And now here are your nominees for Best Short Animation. Now, here's what else you do. You have the nominees for the categories backstage. Don't have them walking down from the nosebleeds. Have them backstage for the shorts. And you say, and the winner short documentary is this. And then that way the short documentary person can be in front of the mic in 5 seconds. Then the presenters come back up, and now the nominees for Best Short Live Action. Have the winner come out. And now the nominees for Best Short Animation. Blah, blah, blah. You'll knock about 5 to 10 minutes out. You still present these things live, but you reduce their role a little bit. So I think shortening the shorts is another thing you can do. Third thing. I've been advocating for a long time just to not have the performances of Best Song at the Oscars. I think it's a waste of time. But a lot of people want them, so how's this for a compromise? Reduce the Best Song category to one segment. So, have a presenter come out and say, music in a movie does this, and this, and the songs inspired movies. Now, here to present the nominated songs for this year's Oscars are so-and-so performing this, so-and-so performing this, so-and-so performing this, and then you start with the first person playing their song. It lasts about 45 seconds to a minute of the song, and that segue as the camera pans over to the next artist singing the next song, segue over to the next artist. You could save about 7 or 8 minutes of screen time, maybe even 10 minutes of screen time at the Oscars if you just presented it all at once and had all the Best Song nominees present in a medley. So that's another suggestion that I have. All right, next up, this is very important. Train the nominees. At the annual Oscar luncheon, take 10 minutes, like they do at the beginning of a flight when they tell you how to use the life raft on a plane, just in case it goes down. Train the nominees. Say, folks, this is very important. Even if you think you have no chance of winning, prepare your acceptance speech. And if there's multiple of you, like if there's a partnership or 3 of you that are going to win an award, plan out in advance exactly who's going to speak in which order, and what exactly you're going to say. Because these awkward moments of one person going up to the mic when there's 2 or 3 winners and taking up all the time and the next person comes in, I also want to thank, and then the mic goes dead. That's awkward. It's just organized. It doesn't feel special. Make sure you take a little time and train your nominees so that when people do win, they can get on stage, feel emotional, but be prepared for what they're going to do. Because I always hate it when they're forced to like play the music and try to rush people off, and some people don't get to speak and all that kind of stuff. Train the damn nominees. All right. This next big thing is kind of influenced by the video game awards. Celebrate the year to come. One of the things that they do at the Video Game Awards every year that I really like, although they do it too much, but is not just celebrating all the best in video games from this past year, they also spend a lot of time highlighting what a year ahead of us we have. Look at all these great games we have coming this year. Now, they spend a little too much time on that in the Video Game Awards, but the premise is really good. What I think they should do is they should get like the 4 or 5 major studios to put together a 1:45-second highlight package of the movies Universal has coming to theaters this year, the movies that Paramount has coming to theaters this year, the movies that Disney has coming to theaters this year, the movies that Warner Brothers has coming to theaters this year, and make the Oscars not just a celebration of the year that was, but a celebration of the year to come. Now, that'll add about 8 to 10 minutes to the broadcast time, but if you take the suggestions I have further up, we compensate for that. And I think making it about the year to come as much as the year behind would do a lot to increase the thing. Also, get people involved. Create an official live online Oscar pool. You know, it's always great on ESPN every year when March Madness comes around, and they can say, all right, 80 so-and-so beat, number 16 so-and-so beat number 1 this. 92% of the brackets are already busted. It would be cool and get people invested if somehow they were participating in the awards by having an official online Oscar pool and just referencing it once in a while, saying only 12% of the Oscar pool ballots are still working because only 12% of the people have been right up to now. Just make it a little something for people to get invested in a little bit. I think that would add to it. And also I would do this. I've suggested a lot of ways to save time because I do want to add a little bit of time to something. And I would say this, add like 30 seconds to the allotted acceptance speech time for the actor categories and the director category. Because for the home audience, let's be honest here, for the home audience, those are the people that most of the people sitting at home are watching the show for. They're watching to see their favorite celebrities and the filmmaker and all that kind of stuff. So I would say add about 30 seconds to each of those people because, it's always really sucks. Like Olivia Colman's acceptance speech, to me, was the highlight of the Oscars this year. And the fact that they started playing music and she had to say, they're getting me off here, add another 30 seconds to those categories. I think if you save a lot of time from some of these initial categories up here, this way, here we go, up here, you'll save a bunch of time here, you'll add a little bit of time with the celebrating the year to come and actor and director speeches, but if you shorten the shorts, limit the hosting, put all the best song nominations into one segment, and train your nominees, then I think you have more than enough time to do things like the year to come and adding a little bit more time for the actors and director with time to spare. So that's my suggestion, guys. That's kind of my look at how you can improve the Oscars this year. A little bit going towards what you were talking about, a little bit of compromises. I'd like to go further with it, but understanding not everybody's down with it. So that's how I would do it. Ashley,
John, I love those suggestions.
Yes, you're all for it.
Yes,
oh,
they were.
Good.
I'm curious about your short film suggestion though. So you're saying that the winners would already know that they're the winners. So they're backstage waiting on the stage, and they've already decided. So the losers and winners aren't standing there waiting for one name to be called. It's just the winners you're saying are backstage for the shorts.
Yeah, there's 1 or 2 ways to do it. Either the shorts are the one categories you let the people know in advance who won. Like the night of the show, you let them know who won. And you just have them, or you can have all the nominees for the short categories backstage, and then you can still have a camera on the face of the winner when they first hear that they win, because that's a nice moment, right?
Yeah,
that's
you
a
need
nice
that.
moment. But don't have it. These short category people are often in the 28th row. And it spends like 48 seconds just for them to walk down to the aisle and then give their speech. Just have them on stage, ready to go. Have all three of them presented at the same time, and have one setup speech by the presenter instead of three different setup speeches for each one of the categories, you know?
No, it makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
You would think that they would have a conversation like that. They wouldn't have to train anybody. That they would already have a conversation like, okay, Harry, you're going to speak first, and then you're going to speak second if we win. Like, I don't understand why there's always a jumble to get to the microphone. Like, how have you guys not talked about it ahead of time?
Every year.
I know.
Every year there are, and it's never just one. It's always like, oh, they got up there. We had no idea we were going to win, so we don't know what we're doing. And then the one person starts to talk, and they don't. And you see the second person standing behind, just thinking, "Hurry up! I want to say something. Hurry up!" And the first person takes all the time, and blah blah blah. Just take one afternoon, sit down with all your nominees for 15 minutes, and really hammer home the need to be prepared. And I think it'll just make the show go a lot smoother.
The only way that I don't think it would totally work is that everybody has different film schedules all the time, and I don't know if they could just like. I don't know. Maybe they could get them all together right before I don't know when they would get everybody together.
Every year they do an Oscar lunch. Every year they do an Oscar lunch and just say, at this Oscar lunch, we're going to do this, and make it a part of it, like 10 minutes.